I'm getting my colors together. Guys, I grabbed my largest brush. Well, I'm not going to do my largest brush. Hey, guys, I usually paint on 11 by 14, but I switched up a little bit because of the style that we're painting. And guys, I'm going to grab my mute that a little bit. Zoom. Okay. Got it. So I did go smaller. This is a 8 by 10, but you guys are welcome to, you know, paint on whatever works best for you. I did go smaller because of the design, but you can still go bigger with it, especially if you want to hang it on the wall, probably look better, bigger. So I am using 8 by 10, and I am using the canvas board. You guys, again, you can use your canvases if you like. I'm using the board. Like I said, the colors that I'm using are a green, pink, and a blue color, but they're pastels. So it's a little twist on it. I'm using winter blue. I'm using this green. It says green tree. And then this pink that I'm using is called bright salmon. So those are the colors I'm using. But again, you guys can use a blue, pink, and green if you like, if that is what works best for you. So I'm going to grab my 1/2 inch, or well, it's not a half. I believe this is a 3/4 or an inch, 1 inch size flat brush. I always like I love my flat brushes, right? So put that over there. You can still see that. And it doesn't matter which color you choose, your combination. I did try to put at least 2 blocks or blotches of each color on there to fit that in. So I'm just gonna kind of do a shape. Guys, see that I just threw a shape on there? And of course, you guys, if you're on a canvas that's larger than the 8 by 10, you want to go a little bit bigger than what you see that I'm doing. If you are on a bigger canvas, go bigger. No tiny paintings unless you're on a tiny canvas. All right. Welcome, everyone. I'm Ronita. I'm a Purposeful Point, and I teach painting. For those of you, like I said, I see a couple of new names that I've not seen before, and welcome. Guys, you're welcome to unmute yourself, but if you do have a lot of background noise, I do ask that you mute because it might not sound that bad to you, but it sounds like mad, crazy, horrible on our side. So keep that in mind. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. So like I said, just some shapes. It doesn't have to be, mine looks kind of round. It doesn't have to be round. Here, I fit one in there. That one's a little bit different. So either way, whatever works best for you. I am going to grab this one over here and paint that whole corner over there. Just something different. You choose your sizes. Like some people, I like to watch the home shows, and like the guy, he said he doesn't like, I think it was angles. He didn't like things that were angles, or either it was square. It was just something that he would, you know, and some people are just anal like that. They don't like it. They didn't want a house that had, he didn't want a house that had angles. So that's what I said, you paint what works best for you. You might plan on hanging this someplace, and then you like circles, or you like squares, or something like that. So you can kind of fit that in if that works for you. Okay. And I did 2 of each, but if you need to get more in there, you can. Again, don't go small, go bigger, because that is an issue that a lot of people have. And I don't know if it's because maybe you need to stop and step back and look at it at a distance so that you can bring it all together, but try to use up all of your space. Go bigger. my winter blue. I know I have one that's open. I'm gonna check and see if I have one that's open. So I'm going to move on to, and I think everybody is, I usually have an anchor, some person who, when she paints, she sits back. And I was like, okay, I know it's time to go to the next step, but she's not on here tonight. So next, I'm going to do I'm going to do pink. And again, I don't want to touch. I don't want my sections to touch one another, but I do want to fill up my negative space. And when I say negative space, it's usually the space, your background, which my negative space is white. It just depends on what you're painting on. If I do a blue painting and I add a lighter color to it, my negative space is going to be the blue if my background is blue. So that's what I mean by negative space. So I'm just adding some shapes. No method to my madness on my shapes. Kaden.
Yeah.
How long did the doctor say you have to wear braces?
I don't know.
That helps a lot. He said he has no clue. He didn't ask. So adding 2 sections. Again, you can have more or less, especially if you start making those tiny paintings. You might have to put more sections in there. But I am going to encourage you not to have tiny sections. Go bigger. Maybe I should have done it on a bigger piece of paper or a bigger canvas. That way you won't feel compelled to go small. Okay. That cool? So now my blue, the way I put it on there, the blue, it's going to take on an odd shape, but that's fun for me. I'm excited about trying to fit that blue in there. And then to shape that, and it didn't shake up my paint. And my paints might be a little separated because they call me Bargain Basement Betty. I love these paints came off the clearance rack. I'm gonna make it happen. So they might be a little bit separated, and I can't be surprised at what comes out. Frugal Frida, Bargain Betty, Basement Bargain Betty, all of that stuff. Guilty. Now this other, the blue that I got looks more gray, but what works for me. Again, try not to let your sections touch. It gives it, that's part of the appeal, part of the character of the painting is the spaces that are in between each section. And if you haven't, you can finish up your colors that you're working on, but I have gone to my 3rd color. And another fun thing is if you did this and you did some kind of texturization on your canvas before you did the blocks, so that in the white area, there'd be some kind of texture, it'd be raised and something fun in the background. That's, because, you know, I love my abstract painting, and some of my paintings, I'll do my pour painting. It'll be an abstract background. And then I'll show you an example. I'll put something on top, and I love it because it has a funny background. This is one I have a pour painting group, and so I made the background, and then I was like, what can I do with that? And so I painted flowers on top of it, just some of the flowers that you can do that. It's just, whatever, go crazy, do whatever you do for your background. And then just the simple flowers that we paint here in our paint sessions, I threw that on top. And it almost looks like it's 3D. It just like it comes off like that. So I was excited. So just something simple like that, make an awesome background or just a fun background. And I've even made a background. We've done it on here, guys. We've made a background. And that was our painting. And that was just so relaxing, just to do the different methods of swiping and messing around and sponging, and just do different stuff on our background. We came out of background, and then I came back. I wish I could grab one since I'm talking about it. And I came back and then just painted simple flowers on top. It's just, it's fun. This one, now you might not recognize, this one was a background, and really, I didn't really paint I did paint something on top, but you might not recognize it, but I love abstract, and this is one of my favorite paintings. But I did something you might recognize. I put bubbles on it. That's about the only thing that you'll recognize. And I think that's fun too, to put those bubbles on there, because again, they kind of come in 3D, they pop out. And we've also done the bubbles on here as well. So I guess, a lot of stuff I've done, and we moved on. Maybe I need to revisit some stuff, because it's still kind of fun to do those things that we did, where we used a balloon to paint. That first year or so, we did a lot of different things, and I think we need to get back to some of those fun things, like painting with the balloons, making flowers with the balloons and stuff. It's fun. I'll definitely put that on the agenda to do that. So hopefully, yeah, it was. It's different, and you get lost in it. But go ahead and finish up your background, because we're going to start painting. We're going to grab our black paint and paint the flowers or whatever design that you want on top. But I'm going to show you how I did that. So it's not, you guys know, I really try to keep it basic so that everyone can participate. So you'll definitely be able to make the flowers. No, they're not going to look like my flowers. They're going to look like your flowers. So keep that in mind. Oh, wow. I hope you guys have stopped swiping so the paint can dry a little bit. Now, I mean, with the black paint on top, it's not going to matter on top of that, but you don't want to paint and drag that color into your negative space. So we want to stop so that Is that a heat gun?
$10 on Amazon.
I kind of sort of have a heat gun. My husband uses it in his business as a tool. And so the only time I really used a heat gun was when I did resin. And, you know, it has the bubbles in it. You heat it up and the bubbles dissipate. And so I did use his heat gun then, and he took it and put it back in his truck. But when I use heat, I usually use a torch. And of course, again, it's one of his tools. And I was like, you know, I'm not going to go buy one if I have his. But something messed up with the top part of it. And I got a whole tank but no lid to where the fire comes out of. That part is not working. And then, of course, if I don't keep at him about getting it, then I'm not going to have any heat. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and grab my black paint, guys. And then really, I'm using black because I like the contrast of, that's why I had pastel colors, more of a bright pastel-y colors, and with the black, and that's more of a contrast. But I would say you can do a lot with this to play around with it. You can grab whatever color you like. If you did some pastel-y colors and then like a really dark blue. But the thing about it is, to get a really dark blue, very seldom can you go buy one, but you can like mix a little bit black with it and do that. That would look neat with that as well. So it just depends on what you want to do. So you guys know that I usually still use my flat brush. I'm going to put my stems on and put the heads later. Okay. Kind of position them. And you can go ahead and grab a pointer brush if you like. But if you've painted with me before, you know I still love my flat brush. But instead of turning it horizontal, I turn it vertical and make my lines like that. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to dip the tip of my brush in my paint. You can see the paint is just there on the tip. And then I'm going to come up from the bottom. And this first one, I'm going to curve it a little bit because that's going to be my anchor one. Okay. And I'm not going to come all the way to the top because I'm going to have a bud on the top. Guys see that? No straight ones, guys. I don't want to see straight lines of your flowers coming straight up. Those are, although we're abstract, I still don't want to see the traditional straight up and down lines. Put a little, if you do go straight up, just put a little bit of curve in it. Just a little bit. Okay. How many did I have on here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like I had 5. I may or may not get 5 in here. Then I have one that's kind of coming up. Then I had one over here. Okay. Okay. See that? Those are going to be my anchors. Now I am going to grab my pointer brush to do my buds. And again, I can tell you numbers on the brushes, but every brand has a different system. So a pointer brush, that's my pointer brush. This one says number 4 on it. I always thought oh yeah, that one's definitely rubbed off, worn off. The brushes that I started out with are just brushes that I grabbed from the Dollar Tree. And I know when you go to Dollar Tree, you get what you pay for, but there are some awesome brushes there. And actually, when I first started, I've been doing the paint parties for 3 or 4 years now. And I still have those same paintbrushes that I got at the Dollar Tree. They are, I'm not saying just any ones, guys. It was a certain one that I got and I love them. They've held up very well. The only issue now for me is that they're wooden, and because of the water, it's starting to kind of warp the paint off. The brush part is still great as long as you take care of them. I take care of those brushes because that could be like your biggest expense when you're doing paint parties is your brushes. So I try to take good care of them. But so I'm trying to find brushes that have like that are hard plastic, so that when they're in water, they're not warping or anything. So now I'm going to take my black. I think I've talked long enough for your paint to be, your base to be dry, so we won't drag paint in there. So I'm going to do this first one. And I'm trying to think of what, it's a bud, try to see what shape that is. Almost like a bell. Okay. Then I'm going to come one in the middle. See that? One in the middle. And then I am going to bring that in. As simple as that. That's my buds. Now on my paintings, they might be a little bit wider, but that is the technique that I'm using for those. So this one's kind of close for me, so I'm gonna have to figure out something. And I did. And then I'm going to come up with one in the middle. Now these have 3 sections, but the other ones I'm going to go to 2, so you can see the difference of that. So that'll be an option for you. So there's one with just 2. Okay. That's an option. And then I have put one over here that's kind of almost like a bud. It's not really open. And because that one's going to be kind of going off the page for me. Might not go off the page for you. So that one I did with just 2 sections as well. So you have your choice of 2 or 3 sections. Now, and you can have more or less stems. I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing. So here, where the stem meets the flower, you can see I filled it in a little bit. Made it like a little triangle upside down. And I'm going to do that for all of my buds to give it that connection. So it looks like, give it that connection there. Almost like a little triangle. But don't make it literally a triangle though, guys. Like a perfect shape triangle. You don't want that. Just a little dimension to it. Just have that here. I just love the contrast of that black with that light background. I mean, but it's pastel colors. I won't say it's light because it's still very I still love the colors. And of course, I'm not going to paint the buds in because I want that's part of the appeal, is for those colors to show through the buds and just through all of it. That's the object of the painting, the boho. So I've seen people do all kinds of different textures and designs on top with that boho background. So you always want to be whatever you choose to be on top so that it's sure, I won't say transparent, but yes, transparent, so you can still see the background on it. So you always want to do that. That is the technique that the boho style does. I see a lot of, I think maybe because I'm on Facebook and I participate in a lot of art stuff, so they show me a bunch of different art and art techniques, and this one comes up all the time. When they do it, it's not so much on the canvas. They might be making a card when they're doing it. So that's also fun too. You can also do maybe make a thank you card or some kind of card and make this as the front of your card. So I am going to take this brush, going back to a flat brush, but I'm going to go, it's not as wide as what I painted my background. So that, if you look, that's the width, and it's almost the width of what my leaves are. You see that, guys? That's why I'm grabbing this brush. That's the length, the width of the way I want my leaves to be. Now, I'm painting, you guys, up on the easel. Personally, when I'm painting, I am not on the easel. I'm painting flat. That way, when I'm maneuvering around things or whatever, I'm able to angle my brush the way I want it. And these leaves will be an example of what I mean by kind of angling my brush. So I talked about how I took my flat brush and I turned, instead of painting horizontal, I turned my brush vertical and did that. So what I'm going to do with these leaves is I'm going to start vertical, turn it horizontal as I'm making my stroke. Then I'm going to, at the end, turn it back vertical. So go slow. So like I said, I'm going to start vertical, turn side flat, then turn it vertical again. That's how I made those leaves. Now I'll do it again so you guys can see what I'm doing. So you got to watch this second time before you do it. I'm a southpaw, so a lot of times when I'm doing stuff on camera, my hand covers up what I'm doing. So I'm hoping that you guys can see, trying to get a spot where you can see it good. So where I start or vertical, turn my brush horizontal. Then before I get to the end of the leaf, I turn it vertical again. Gosh, you guys didn't even see that. Okay, let's try it this way. Vertical, horizontal, then vertical again at the tip. See how I got thinner at the tip? That's how I'm doing my leaves. Then also when I'm doing them, I do put a little twist on them. But if you don't feel comfortable to put that little twist, just concentrate on vertical, flat, back vertical. Okay. And don't get carried away with it. You don't have to cover up all your space, fill up all yours. You don't have to fill up all your space with your leaves. Vertical, flat, and vertical. I want to put some on this side, flat, vertical, and flat. Might be enough. You might see some other spots. I want to put a couple in there. Is that enough or what? I think one more up here, and then I'll be done. Flat, back vertical. And again, it's if you need to angle your canvas and move it around when you're doing that technique, you can. How you feel about those leaves?
I think they're very nice. I like them.
Can't wait to see you guys because I'm finished with mine, so now I'm just waiting to see these boho paintings. I thought it was a fun idea. I was excited, and I don't know why I was hesitant about doing it. I was like, and I did it, and I was like, oh, I like it. I like it.
Well, I didn't get back early enough to be able to kind of get my paints and stuff. So I did marker, and the other one pencil crayon with marker flowers.
Okay,
So-
awesome. But it always turns out, oh man, it still turned out great. Hold on, let me spotlight you. Oh yes, yeah. See, you can do like, yeah, add to it and do it multiple times and try different colors and combinations.
Yep. So I figured that worked just as well because everybody keeps interrupting me, including the dog.
All right, since I am finished with the instruction part, we are going to take a group photo, but I'm going to go ahead and end it for the YouTube viewers that if you're watching on YouTube, thank you. And please send me a picture of your finished product.